realize how small mistakes turn into huge problems at sea, because a cruise ship runs on strict rules, tight timing, and expensive consequences. And here's the catch. Some of the worst mistakes are the ones that seem totally harmless at first. By the end of this video, you'll know exactly what to avoid. Never fly in the same day your cruise leaves. That is one of the fastest ways to turn excitement into panic. On a Royal Caribbean sailing out of Miami, one delayed morning flight caused dozens of passengers to miss embarkation entirely, even though the ship was still in port when they landed. Here's the catch. The terminal closes check-in long before the gangway comes up, and the ship will not wait for you just because your airline messed up. Most cruisers think travel insurance or a polite explanation will save them. But the truth is, if you booked your own flights, you can be left paying for a hotel, new transportation, and a last-minute attempt to catch the ship at the next port. That can cost more than the cruise itself. And even if you do make it, you'll start your vacation stressed, sweaty, and already behind. Your luggage might not even arrive with you. The smart move is simple. Fly in at least one day early, stay near the port, and wake up on embarkation day, already in cruise mode instead of airport survival mode. Never ignore the daily schedule in your stateroom or the cruise line app. That tiny schedule controls your entire trip. On a Carnival sailing, passengers miss their prepaid comedy show, a specialty dining reservation, and the only decent slot for a shore excursion because they assumed the ship would just announce everything loudly over the speakers. But wait, most of the important information is not shouted out, it's buried in the planner. Port times change, activities fill up, dining venues shift hours, tender port instructions appear there. So do deck parties, sales, trivia, and the exact deadline to get back on board. Most cruisers don't realize the ship is basically a floating city with a strict operating plan. If you don't check it, your day gets controlled by confusion instead of choice. That means wasted time, missed experiences, and extra money spent trying to fix bad timing. The truth is, organized cruisers have better vacations. Before bed every night, check the next day's schedule, star the events you want, verify port day times, and screenshot anything important in case the app glitches when you need it most. Never treat the buffet like it's your only food option on day one. That rookie move can waste your first hours on board and start your cruise in total chaos. On Norwegian, the buffet turns into a madhouse right after embarkation. Passengers drag carry-ons between tables, hunt for seats, and stand in long lines while better options sit half empty just a few decks away. Most cruisers think the buffet is the obvious first stop because it feels familiar, but actually, it's usually the slowest, loudest, and most stressful place to go. Here's why that matters. Your first impression shapes your entire boarding day. If you begin frustrated, overheated, and circling the buffet with a backpack on your shoulder, you lose valuable time exploring the ship, booking extras, and getting your bearings before sail away. On some sailings, you'll also miss short opening windows for specialty dining changes or excursion questions. The better play is to skip the buffet rush completely. Check whether the main dining room, a quieter poolside grill, or a smaller cafe is open. Eat somewhere calm, get settled, then learn the ship before the crowds spread everywhere. That one decision makes embarkation feel smooth instead of frantic. Never assume your cabin will be available the second you board. That mistake creates frustration and slows you down right when you should be getting oriented. On MSC and Carnival, plenty of passengers head straight to their cabin area, only to find fire doors closed and crew still cleaning staterooms. Then the complaints start. People hover in hallways, block elevators, and drag luggage around while trying to force access to spaces that are clearly not ready. Most cruisers don't realize the turnaround window is brutally tight. The crew is flipping thousands of rooms in just a few hours, and your impatience won't speed that up. Here's the catch. If you pack medications, a swimsuit, sunscreen, chargers, and documents in your checked luggage instead of your carry-on, you can spend half the afternoon without the things you actually need. That means no pool, no drink on the Lido deck, no shower change, and no access to essentials if your bag is delayed. The smart move is simple. Assume your stateroom won't be ready for a while. Pack a small embarkation bag with valuables, cruise documents, medicine, swim gear, and anything you'll want before dinner. Then let the crew finish your cabin in peace. Never put your phone in airplane mode and assume you're safe from charges. That can become one of the most expensive mistakes on the entire ship. On a Carnival cruise in the Caribbean, passengers returned home to shocking phone bills after their devices connected to the ship's cellular network at sea. Most cruisers don't realize a cruise ship can trigger international roaming charges even when you never make a call. Background app refresh, missed texts, voicemail, and data syncing can quietly rack up fees that are far worse than buying the ship's Wi-Fi package in the first place. And here's the catch. At some ports, your phone may connect to a foreign tower the moment you step off the gangway. If you stream, upload, or use maps without a plan, your bill can explode before lunch. The truth is, cruise connectivity is a trap if you don't manage it intentionally. Check your carrier's cruise and international options before sailing. Turn off cellular data, roaming, and auto-connect settings. Use Wi-Fi only when you mean to, and download maps, boarding passes, and entertainment before you leave home. That one tech habit can save you a painful surprise after the cruise is over. Never skip the muster drill or treat it like a joke. It may feel boring, but ignoring it can delay your entire day and put you at real risk. On Royal Caribbean and Norwegian, passengers who wandered off for drinks before completing muster were repeatedly called out over the ship's system, then forced to report while everyone else started enjoying sail away. That is embarrassing enough. But the truth is more serious. Most cruisers don't realise the ship cannot fully move on with normal operations until safety requirements are met. You are not just delaying yourself, you are becoming part of the problem for everyone on board. And if a real emergency ever happened, missing that information could leave you confused about your assembly station, life jacket procedure, or evacuation route from your stateroom. On a ship that carries thousands of people, confusion spreads fast. Safety is not optional theatre. It is the one thing you should take more seriously than your dinner reservation. The pro move is easy. The second you board, watch the safety video, go to your muster station, get checked in, and handle it before the first cocktail, buffet run, or deck photo. Never lose track of ship time on a port day. This is how people literally get left behind. On an MSC sailing in the Mediterranean, passengers returned late after lunch in port because their phones switched to local time, while the ship stayed on its own schedule. They got to the pier just in time to watch the vessel pulling away. Most cruisers don't realise ship time and local port time are not always the same. Here's the catch. The crew does not care that your taxi was late, your beach club was slow with the bill, or your phone showed a different hour. If you are not back before all aboard time, the ship can sail without you. Then you're dealing with passports, luggage, hotels, and last-minute travel to the next stop. That is not an inconvenience. That is a vacation disaster. Tender port days are even riskier because you still need time to catch the tender back to the ship. The rule is simple. Wear a watch, confirm the official ship time before leaving, and plan to return at least an hour early. If you book an independent shore excursion, build in even more cushion because traffic, weather, and lines can crush your timeline fast. Never assume every shore excursion sold near the pier is a great deal. Cheap can become very expensive when timing and safety fall apart. On a Carnival sailing in Cozumel, passengers skipped the official shore excursion desk and booked a cheaper beach transfer with a guy outside the terminal. The van broke down, the group returned late, and they barely made it back after sprinting through the port. Most cruisers think all excursions are basically the same, but actually, the biggest difference is protection. If you book through the cruise line and the tour runs late, the ship usually knows where you are and works with that operator. If you book independently, you are on your own. The truth is, one bargain can cost you a missed ship, lost tour money, and a travel scramble you'll never forget. That doesn't mean independent tours are always bad. It means you need to vet them carefully. Read recent reviews, confirm return times, and avoid anything with zero buffer. If the port requires a tender, be even more cautious. Your best move is to choose reputable operators with proven cruise timing, or book through the ship when the schedule is tight or the destination is far from port. Never go wild with the drink package on day one just because you want to get your money's worth. That mindset ruins more cruises than people admit. On a Royal Caribbean sailing, passengers started pounding frozen drinks on embarkation afternoon, skipped lunch, spent hours in the sun on the Lido deck, and ended up seasick, dehydrated, and asleep before the ship even cleared the channel. Most cruisers don't realise day one is the perfect storm. You are tired from travel, possibly underfed, carrying stress, and adjusting to motion all at once. Here's the catch. The drink package only feels like a deal if you can actually enjoy the cruise. If you lose the first night, miss specialty dining, feel awful the next morning, or spend half the trip recovering in your cabin, you didn't win. You paid to sabotage yourself. The truth is, the smartest cruisers pace themselves from the start. Eat before drinking. Alternate every alcoholic drink with water. Use the package for coffee, bottled water, soda and mocktails too. And learn the rules because many lines limit the number of drinks or exclude certain menus. Your pro move is simple. Treat day one like a marathon start, not a sprint. And let the vacation build instead of crashing early. Never skip travel insurance because you think cruises are controlled and predictable. They are not. One cancelled flight, one injury, or one medical issue at sea can wipe out your budget instantly. On Norwegian, passengers had to pay major out-of-pocket costs after getting sick before sailing because they assumed their credit card protections were enough. On another Caribbean cruise, an onboard medical visit for a simple issue turned into a painful bill because there was no proper coverage. Most cruisers don't realise cruise problems stack fast. If you miss embarkation, you may need emergency flights. If you need treatment in the ship's medical centre, costs can feel more like private urgent care than your hometown clinic. If weather changes the itinerary, not every loss is automatically covered. Here's the catch. Insurance is not about expecting disaster. It is about protecting a vacation that often includes flights, hotels, excursions, and prepaid packages all tied together. The truth is, cruise lines have policies, but those policies are not designed to make you whole. Before you sail, compare policies that cover trip interruption, medical care, evacuation, and missed connections. Then read the fine print. The right policy feels boring until the moment it saves you thousands. Never leave important documents scattered in different bags like you're packing for a road trip. A cruise punishes disorganisation fast. On MSC, passengers reached the terminal and realised one bag had the passports, another had the boarding documents, and the carry-on with medication was still in the rideshare trunk. That kind of chaos at embarkation creates instant panic. Most cruisers don't realise how many checkpoints happen before you even reach the ship. You may need your passport, boarding pass, health paperwork, credit card and luggage tags within minutes of each other. If you're fumbling through bags in a crowded terminal, you slow yourself down and increase the chance of losing something critical. And here's the catch. If your passport disappears during the trip, your vacation can turn into an administrative nightmare at the next foreign port. Replacing it is not quick, easy, or cheap. The smart move is to create one cruise document system. Keep passports, boarding info, travel insurance, medications, and a backup card in one secure personal bag that never leaves your sight. Make digital copies too. Your pro tip is simple. If losing that item would ruin your cruise, it should never go into checked luggage. Never assume the ocean will be gentle just because the weather looks perfect from the deck. Motion sickness can hit fast, and once it starts, it can ruin days of your trip. On Carnival and Princess sailings, passengers laughed off warnings, skipped remedies, then spent the first rough night stuck in the stateroom, unable to enjoy dinner, shows, or even the buffet. Most cruisers don't realise motion sickness is easier to prevent than to stop. Here's the catch. By the time you feel truly bad, you are already behind. The ship's shop may be sold out of the remedy you want, the medical centre may be closed for casual needs, and you'll be trying to recover instead of enjoying your vacation. Even larger ships on Royal Caribbean or MSC can move more than expected during open water crossings. The truth is, size helps, but it does not make you immune. If you are even slightly prone to nausea, prepare before you board. Bring your preferred medication, bands, ginger, or patches, and start using them early if needed. Choose a midship cabin on a lower deck when possible. And if you begin feeling off, get fresh air, look at the horizon, and act immediately instead of waiting for it to pass. Never leave your spending unchecked just because your SeaPass or cruise card makes everything feel cashless. That little tap can drain your budget faster than any casino ever will. On Royal Caribbean, passengers ended a 7-night cruise shocked by charges from specialty dining, arcade swipes, cocktails outside the drink package, photos, gratuities, and onboard shopping they barely remembered making. Most cruisers think they'll notice if spending gets out of hand. But actually, the ship is designed to make buying frictionless. That is the whole point. Here's the catch. You are not handing over cash, so your brain doesn't register the loss in real time. One dessert here, one upgraded steak there, one spa thermal pass, one excursion photo package, and suddenly you owe hundreds more than expected. The truth is, cruising feels all-inclusive until it very much isn't. If you don't track your account, the final statement can hit like a storm. The smart move is to check your onboard account every single day in the app or at guest services. Question errors immediately. Set a personal daily budget. And before you buy anything, ask yourself one simple question. Oh, is this actually worth real money, or does it only feel harmless because it's going on the card? Never wander into every upsell pitch like it's free information. On a cruise ship, a quick look often ends with your wallet open. On Norwegian and Carnival, passengers attended spa tours, jewellery talks, art auctions, and skincare demos just for the fun of it, then walked out with overpriced products, future cruise deposits, or treatments they never planned to buy. Most cruisers don't realise how polished these sales environments are. You are relaxed, you are on vacation, and the pitch is wrapped in freebies, raffles, samples, or a glass of bubbly. But wait, the urgency is fake and the pressure is real. You may be told the deal only lasts today, that inventory is limited, or that this treatment will sell out in minutes. Sometimes it will. Often it won't. The truth is, spending on impulse at sea is one of the easiest ways to regret your cruise later. That money could have gone to a truly memorable shore excursion or a specialty dining experience you actually wanted. Your pro move is simple. Decide your splurge budget before embarkation. If an offer wasn't in your plan, walk away, think overnight, and only buy if you still want it the next day. Never stay disconnected from your group without a plan, especially on bigger ships. That mistake turns a fun vacation into a constant game of searching and waiting. On Wonder of the Seas and other giant Royal Caribbean ships, families lose each other for hours because they assume we'll just text. Here's the catch. Messaging may not work without paid Wi-Fi, app chat can lag, and moving between the pool, buffet, specialty dining and theatre makes everyone harder to track than you expect. Most cruisers don't realise a large ship is basically a floating neighbourhood with bad communication. If you split up without a plan, you can miss dinner, waste time hunting through decks, and spend half the night frustrated instead of having fun. This gets worse on port day when one person returns late from a shore excursion, or someone heads back from the beach without telling the rest of the group. The truth is, simple coordination saves huge stress. Before you separate, agree on meeting points, exact times, and backup plans. Choose landmarks like a specific bar, staircase, or pool entrance, not vague phrases like near the buffet. And if you're sailing with kids or older relatives, make sure everyone knows the cabin number and the ship's basic layout before the first afternoon gets chaotic. Never forget that the crew is watching your behaviour even when you think nobody notices. Being rude, demanding, or entitled can quietly wreck your experience. On multiple Carnival and MSC sailings, passengers snapped at dining staff, cut lines at guest services, or barked orders at cabin stewards, then seemed shocked when problems got harder instead of easier. Most cruisers don't realise courtesy matters more at sea because you are sharing a closed environment with the same crew all week. The people serving your stateroom drinks and meals are not random strangers you'll never see again. They are the people who can help make your cruise smoother when something goes wrong. The truth is, crew members remember kindness, and they absolutely remember disrespect. That does not mean tips buy special treatment. It means basic decency opens doors, while bad behaviour closes them. If you have an issue, explain it calmly and clearly. Be specific. Be patient. Use names when you can. Thank people who help you. Your pro tip is simple. Treat every crew member like a professional human being, not a background prop in your vacation, and you'll be amazed how much better your cruise feels from start to finish. And finally, never assume a cruise is impossible to mess up just because everything looks polished and easy on social media. The truth is, the people having the best time are usually the ones avoiding the dumb mistakes you just heard about. Show up early. Track ship time. Respect the muster drill. Pace your drink package. Watch your spending. Keep your documents secure. Plan port days like they matter, because they do. A cruise can be one of the best vacations you'll ever take, but only if you stop the preventable problems before they start. If this saved you from making an expensive mistake, hit like, subscribe, and drop a comment with the biggest cruise fail you've ever seen, or the one mistake you almost made yourself. And if you want to cruise smarter, watch the next video on the smartest things you should do the moment you board, because that's where the real insider advantage begins.